How to have more energy at work. I've worked with a lot of people on this. We're going to go through and help you start to figure out how can you transition from a reactive state to a proactive state. As a result, have more energy. Give you 6 specific steps. When we can live life on our terms, on a holistic level, taking into account not just our business lives, but also our health, all of our relationships, from friends, family, to our partners, the world changes. Okay, so if you're saying, man, I really would just like to have some more energy at work. Well, I can promise you, you're not the only person out there. There's a lot of people who are doing this, and in fact, I think it's almost at a chronic stage where people are having challenges figuring out how to have more energy. Fair enough. To me, the most important thing, and I've worked with leaders literally all over the world for 30 years, is how can you start to transition from a reactive state to a proactive state in your life? Not just at work, but in your entire life. But we'll start with work. So of the 6 steps that you need to do, the first thing is to start establishing boundaries. For most of us, we live our life in a total reactionary shit show, where stuff comes in, it's just always flying in, and we're always in a state of transition. There's studies that suggest that we lose up to 30% of our day or more in transitions. Now, what I mean by that is if your head's down working on something, type, somebody comes, hey, you got a quick second? And they come in, say, oh yeah, just a sec, yeah, okay, what? Well, and they ask you a question, and maybe it's only a minute. It can take you 3 to 5 minutes to get back to the same cognitive level of where you were. So if you're constantly getting distracted, that's not gonna help. If you have your devices, your phones, you're getting the bings on your cell phones, and it's emails that are constantly coming in, Facebook notifications, all those things. Those are all hijacks, time hijacks. So the first thing is to start establishing some form of boundaries. And what I mean by this is not saying no to everybody, but figure out what can you say no to. What are those areas? Like, for example, I've turned all notifications off of all my devices all the time. I don't want to be reacting to my devices. I want to be proactively handling when I work with the devices. It's a very small thing, but if it means that I start feeling like I'm in a little bit more control, it's actually going to start giving me more energy. I'm going to become more efficient. I'm going to get things done one at a time. So the first thing is start looking at what kind of boundaries can you establish with your work. Now, maybe it's shutting your door more, or maybe it's turning off your notifications. Maybe it's saying no to some of those meetings that people would like you to be in, but you don't have to be in. But start looking at it from that perspective. The second thing is to time block. This is a very, very old time-tested method. But if you could go heads down on a project at a certain time for a certain scheduled periods of the day, you become much, much more efficient. When you're more efficient, you're gonna have more energy. So a very basic thing is think again about your emails. Maybe you say, I'm gonna check my emails every morning when I come in for 30 minutes, and then I'll check it right after lunch for 30 minutes and right before I go home for 30 minutes. Rather than reacting throughout the entire day to a constant barrage of emails and Slack messages and all that other stuff. Sometimes you can do this, sometimes you can't. But I can tell you more often than not, it's likely going to be a bad habit that you have rather than the full need that you're really that important. When I'm working with a leadership team, if I'm in session with them, I'll be in all day. I literally turn my phone off. I show them I'm turning my phone off and I'm here with you, ultra present right now. When I'm present, I'm there, I get so much more done. I am so much more efficient. You do that by being time blocking your time. If you say, hey, look, I need my people need to come and talk to me. Okay, great. Maybe you set office hours that are from 10 to 11 and from 2 to 3 every day. That's when the door is open. And if people come in, no. If my door is closed, this door stays closed unless the building's burning down around me. Nobody comes in. But how can you start to establish those boundaries and then start blocking out time when you can really focus on the work that you need to have? The byproduct, again, is you're going to create energy for yourself as you get out of this. The third thing is start to invest time in thinking. This is maybe one of the biggest challenges I have when I'm working with senior leaders, but the greatest skill, hands down, that they can learn is how can you transition from working on the business to working in the business? How can you transition from working on your department to working in your department to working on your department? And the thing is that the skills it takes to get from here to here are different than the skills from here to here. To do that, you're going to have to get a little uncomfortable, and you're going to have to think. So I really encourage people to figure out some time in the day, even if it's only 15 minutes with a cup of coffee or going for a walk or something simple, where you leave your devices alone and you just go for a walk and you let your subconscious help you solve the bigger problems of the day. Now, if you're like, I don't buy into this. Yeah, it's BS. Okay, if you've ever stood in the shower for an extra 2 minutes and just let the hot water rain over the top of you, and it's in that time that you're like, bing, oh my God, if I do this, if I can move Jane over here and Joe to there, and holy smokes, that's gonna save everybody a bunch of time. That is the kind of thing that is what you should be doing as a leader, and that becomes your highest and best use. Not being in meetings and doing TPS reports all day. So if you can start thinking and start investing the time to figure out how to develop that thinking time, you're actually going to become much more efficient. Again, as you create efficiencies, you're going to get more energized in work. You'll get more done. You'll become more enthusiastic. It's exciting. It's fun to be there. All right. Now, the fourth thing is to start thinking of yourself as the whole person. Work-life balance no longer exists. I hate to say that, but I don't think it does. But I do firmly believe that a healthy work-life integration can. And this is where, if you can establish those boundaries, the time blocking, thinking time, and make sure that you integrate that with your life. Because you have the ability, if you want to go to your kid's soccer game on a Thursday afternoon, a lot of people can go do that. Just as if you want to check emails at 6 in the morning when you're Cheerios, or at 2 in the morning, you can do that. So if you can look at yourself as the primary asset and figure out how do we establish those boundaries both at home and at the office, it's going to help you. So there's a tool that I have, and you're welcome to use it. It doesn't cost you anything. You can go to lifeon-yourterms.com, and you go about halfway down the page, and it's called the balance wheel. Now the balance wheel will go through, takes about 6 minutes, and it's going to give you immediate results. Might look like something like this. It shows where you are on a holistic level. But when you do this, it's going to allow you then to start to stabilize. You can assess, and then once you know that, you can stabilize. When we're looking for more energy, when we're transitioning from that reactive state to that proactive state, every organization, individual, leadership team, couple is at one of 4 phases: stabilize, visualize, strategize, or execute. To start with, we've got to stabilize. If you want to have more energy, let's stabilize, get you breathing, transition. Once you stabilize, then you can visualize where you want to go, what amazing can look like, then build a plan to achieve it, then hold yourself ruthlessly but compassionately accountable. So if you say, look, okay, I'm buying what you're saying here, Kluver, you need to address the whole person. Because when you're a better spouse, when you're a better parent, when your physical health is better, your mental health is better, you're sleeping better, you're not worrying about finances and things like that, you're actually going to become much better at what you do at the office, at work, and you're going to end up with much more energy. So, of the whole person, first, I'm going to encourage you to think about the home life. Just as I said, time block, be ultra present, set boundaries. Same thing when you come home. Make sure that when you're with your kids, with your spouse, with your parents, that you're being ultra present. I think that's probably the greatest gift we can give everybody, including ourselves. If you're out screw around with abandon. Set boundaries, put the phone in a drawer. Check it if you need to a couple times a night, but leave it there. Don't sit there and exercise your thumb all night. It's going to help you. This will start to help you with more energy. Be very, very intentional and proactive with your sleep. This is the number one place where I start with people. You want to have more energy at the office? Figure out how you can sleep better at home. You get a better night's sleep, it becomes your biggest competitive advantage because you're going to be clear-headed, you're going to make better decisions, you'll be more active with it. So once you do this, home life, the second is going to be that health. That's going to be around the sleep. I'm encouraging a lot of my CEOs to start their day with a walk. Start a walk where they express where are they grateful for. There's so many positives in the world, and it's so easy to get sucked into all the negatives. Leave their device at home, go for a walk with a cup of coffee, think about what you're positive for. What are the primary things we need to do today? But when you start to do this and you treat yourself like the primary asset, you will start to have more energy. So ideally then, these start to shift you to where you go from that reactive state to that proactive state. So again, the 6 steps are going to be: number 1, establishing boundaries. Now these boundaries now aren't just at the office, they can be at home, for the office, back and forth. Time block. Make sure that when you're investing that time and energy, you're 100% present. I would rather you be 100% present with that employee when you're having that discussion for 3 minutes than for 20 minutes trying to do something at the multitask. Or if you come home and you're playing unicorn fun time with your 5-year-old, be 100% present for that, because the kids will call you out and say, "Daddy, you like your phone better than me." So stay present when you're time blocking. Third, invest and cultivate thinking time. How can you be working on the business so that you're becoming better? Fourth, look at yourself as a whole person, that you're the primary asset of the organization. Part of that then, number 5, is making sure you invest well in your home life. Home life is solid, it's going to be easier for you to have more energy, sleep better, and have more energy at work. Sixth, make sure you're addressing your health, both your sleep, your physical, your mental, all of those together. Those are the things that are going to help become your competitive advantage. So ideally you found some value with this. If you did, please subscribe, check out some of the other videos on the channel. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to reach out to us at lifeon-yourterms.com. Keep smiling.